fucking dirty on the floor. Oh, you don't want that. Perfect, everything perfect. I have a friend named Richard that used to always joke around and say that shit. Like being a man, but being sexy at the same time. Like we do our eyebrows or fucking lines on our beards and mustaches and shit like that. Back then it was considered sexy, you know, like you would do the line here. Stupid shit like that from high school. And one time he was doing it. And he turned around and we were in the van and he's like, perfect, everything perfect. Shit, when you don't got a legit home, who's to say you can't look fucking sexy? You can still be somewhat homeless and fucking, you can still look good, you know? You gotta be presentable for work and shit. Now I can't see too well on this camera. But timing wise, I'd be done in like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Usually you dry these off, they last longer. Okie dokie. I learned that from my mama. Now I'm gonna throw up a video, do some kung fu shit. I'm gonna go to church today at like 9:30, something like that. It's not too bad. I actually like that church. It's a real good church. That's why I was shaving up. Gotta look good. Regardless, I mean, give and take on the situation. And the shirt, I like this shirt. Originally, it's supposed to be my pop's shirt. Finally getting tight right there. Been working out. This makes me look fat right here from the angle. But see, still looking good. If I missed any spots, I'm gonna have to go just read up and touch it up. Touch it up. Touch it up. Touch it up. You gotta be happy and positive regardless of your situation, you know what I mean? And normally it doesn't last like this, so I'll at least find something or get some things rolling. Just need to get some lotion. I got a toothbrush, I got some clothes, thanks to some of my people, and just little resources, you know, like I'll use this bottle. If I bought some Gatorade, I'll go get some water and shit. Make sure I'm hydrated. Oop. And a piece of corn that fell out. Stay hydrated throughout the day. And just go to certain spots. You know, I'll go to the church and stuff like that. Every now and then I'll go say hi to my mom if we're not fighting and shit. It's probably just really frustrating for her. I get it, you know. But there's a lot of individuals that are in my situation before I fell off. So I'm not really ashamed of it. There was a lot of things that occurred that shouldn't have had occurred. I didn't really see it. I mean, I think I kind of did, but I'm so used to just caring so fucking much, and I look too deep into people where it's like I don't see it. I was talking to my friend yesterday about that, and he's like, bro, he's like, I feel you. He's like, I've been in that situation. He's like, where I cared so much and I look past the bullshit. He's all, in reality, it's, you gotta let them go, you know? So I should have had just kicked everybody out. I should have never had anybody stayed with me at all, regardless of their situation. Because they're all using or doing something, you know what I mean? And they don't want to admit to their flaws. Like me, I'll admit, like, I smoke cigarettes, I drink. Like, I'm a drinker, you know? Sometimes I'll get a little too much drink. But there is times where, like, I do manage it, you know, like when I was working at the Pioneer, I managed it very well. Like, I would do like 2 or maybe, depending on what I could afford, because I still had to worry about rent and shit like that, and utilities and like food and stuff. I would drink like 1 twisted tea and maybe like a shot, and then I would have to think about the bus or if I can come up on another $2. Like, that was a struggle, just getting home and actually getting to work, you know? Like, I was putting in the work, man. I would get up super fucking early. Me and Lulu would come and work out at the park so I can wear her down, because she's a very, like, energetic dog. She's mixed with 3 different breeds. I don't really know what's going on with her. I get updates where she's at. I'm glad she's in a good home. I just couldn't have her in my situation. It was hard to let go of. Regardless of what happened. I mean, I can get accused and blamed and yelled at all fucking day. Like, I don't care. Like, you weren't in my shoes, you weren't in my position, you don't know how I felt or how I was perceiving to do whatever was going on, you know? I mean, I did have a lot of fun with the drinking, yeah, you know, I'm not gonna lie, at moments, but at the same time, I thought I had friends, and they weren't friends, you know what I mean? And then when it just kind of spirals out of control, and when people are, like, slipping you shit, you kind of get sucked in and you don't even really realize it until, like, you hit like something real bad, like, which I did, where I was like, whoa, it's starting to drop. And that's when I was just like, fuck this. Like, I bounced with just the clothes on my back. You know what I mean? And ever since then, I've just been, I mean, it's not too bad. It's just based on your state of mind. I've been reading this book. Um, it's called Survival, right? And it's a lady that wrote the book, and I think she's gangster as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, she literally put herself in the wilderness. She was talking about situations, how your mind is with the frame of your mind, how you, because we're so accustomed to sleeping in a bed with the door locked, with the window closed, like you have security, and when you don't have that security no more, and you got to actually be out and about surviving, like, okay, how much water can I get throughout the day? How do I eat? How do I this? How do I that? Sometimes you won't even eat. You know what I mean? Like, there was a day where I didn't eat for like a day and a half. You know what I'm saying? But I'm so disciplined, along with my training from the Fort Mojave boxing training. When I was training for like a year straight, I didn't drink or smoke or anything like that. My pops and my moms was proud of me. I mean, you have your ups and downs, you know what I mean? I'm not the only cat, it's just, I feel that when it's on my focus, because everybody knows that I have that mental state and I'm real good like that, they hate on that shit. You make one little mistake, and I'm like, what the fuck, nigga? I'm not that perfect, But if you ever look up like the UFC fighter Roy Jones Bones or whatever, like, he's got a brother, but that fool was crazy as fuck. Like, he was a big success. He used to fight in the UFC, but then he also caught court cases because he'd be drinking and low-key snorting coke and fucking fighting fools at the bar. He had to go to court for that shit. You don't think people were like, hey, fool, what the fuck, woo, woo, woo. Like, for me personally, I've developed a mind and a mentality that no matter how many times they point fingers at you or make you feel certain ways, or they're frustrated and angry at you, but in reality it's because they love you in a low-key way or a weird, awkward way, you just suck it up. You know what I mean? Like, you already know what kind of mistakes you made, or their errors. I mean, life's full of them. You're always going to get them. But if it's a repeated pattern over and over and over, which I was learning from the Shaolin Master, he's like, that is the actual mistake. You can make mistakes, many mistakes in your life, and it's not an actual mistake. But if it's something repetitive, repeatedly, over and over and over, that's the fucking mistake. That's the thing you need to correct. And I found that pattern. It took me a long time. I've always recognized it, but it might have to do with, like, past abuse in my particular area. Everyone's gone through it. Bullhead ain't fucking perfect, so I don't see why everybody tries to, like, want to rank everybody up or categorize things, like, for instance, like, how do you say, competition. People want a competition, like, oh, well, you don't know how hard I had it, and da-da-da. It's like, I don't give a fuck, dude. Everybody goes through hard times, whether you got shot, stabbed, or fucking, I knew fools that went through that shit. And it's a lot of that goes in the state of mind, and even recovering from a mistake, you go through a lot of trauma, and your mind's trying to calculate everything, because after you've been backstabbed or betrayed by certain individuals, your mind is calculating months ago of that. Or even, like, there was this one I went through. I'm not gonna, like, give all detail, but I knew this individual was a con. It was a female. I knew her for 3 years, right? I thought the whole shit, the whole nine, a friendship, even if there was somewhat of a relation, but that was just play. That's how they play. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know the difference. This is my first time ever, like, really running into a con. I only had one con, but it wasn't my con. It was a friend of mine, and he did this tattoo. And once I started to learn, I was like, what the fuck, I just thought it was just drug shit. You know what I mean? From back then, with him or whatever, he had some issues. But women that are conning, oh lordy, that's some scary shit. I've been through it, so I thought I had a good friend for 3 years. She knew my mom and everybody and shit like that, and then come to find out, she was conning me and shit. She took me for like a fucking lot of money, you know what I mean? For a house and everything. That was a whole setup, the whole 9 yards, and I was like, wow. So in my mind, I was so pissed because I was only left with so much bread, you know what I mean? But I knew I got took for like $6,000, maybe even more. And I had to give up my place, you know what I mean? And it was a shitty fucking house. It was like a demonic fucking house. It was just disgusting shit that she was doing with her daughter, and just, they're just fucking crazy. But anyways, low key, afterwards you got to go through the trauma. So my mind was like, once it knew it was betrayed and it had an alert, like, oh, get the fuck out, bro. Like, this bitch, nah, she's gonna kill you. You know what I mean? Then it's like, when you go to lay down at night, 3 years is wrapped all in one. And you're like, whoa. And it's starting to calculate everything. Like, remember when it said this and she said that and da 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 and this and that and boo boo. And then you start to go through the setups and all the lies and all the deceiving and the marking. And that shit's being ranked off. To me, that's like file reporting real fast in your mind. Not like they do the reports, you know, like people that go to the station and they get arrested and all that shit. And they got to do it on paper and type it up and build a case. And fuck no, your mind is so powerful, it's so quick, especially depending on your intelligency. So like in your mind, if you cap it slowly, oh well, good for you. Mine doesn't. Mine's like, it'll hit me fucking all at once. It took me, usually when I had read about like it's a psychological book, and it was a woman that wrote that book. Women are very very intuitive when it comes to writing. I'm not saying men aren't good writers, but the ones that I've ran into particularly, they're very smart. And that book I had read, it talks about trauma and like rape victims and people that have been through this and that, whatever, and she like gets it down to a T. That's when I knew, like excuse me, I was throwing a brain fart there. That's when I started to really learn that, okay, like let's say you got stabbed or you were betrayed by your husband, and for the last 8 years he was cheating on you, right? Or vice versa, she was cheating on him or whatever, right? That's a lot of trauma to wrap around. Now most people, they can't get past those type of traumas because it's so deep in the mind or in how they feel in the body, like emotionally, and it does connect all together, you know. So if it really was like traumatic or it cut deep, you know, very deep, it takes about I want to say 5 to 8 years of recovery, right? After the 3 years of torture and lies and shit and everything that was calculating in my head, I was going so fast for the last like 2 or 3 days. It started to slow down, you know, like calculating, and then it started to get weird and, you know, mishaps. And sometimes some of their format with whatever they were saying to you was like kind of like brainwashing. So you're kind of like, you'll get that weird thought, and then you gotta like recalculate that thought out and be like, okay, wait a minute, that's not me thinking that, that's her or his shit that he put in my mind. And you gotta wipe your fucking database off, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta wipe that clean to get it out, because otherwise, you know, you're stuck with that trauma. And then when you go into a new relationship that might actually be good for you, that's when you start to learn, like, oh, okay, like, now you can't handle it, you know what I mean? Like, you're like wondering, how am I gonna, I can't trust this individual, you know? Or you step back a little, you know, and they're like, oh, you want something to drink? You're like, no, I'm okay, you know? Like, you don't want to be carrying that with you, you know? That's why it's good to go with your healing. So for those 3 years of bullshit, it took me a minimum of, I want to say, like 3 to 5 months to clear out. And then I was good. I was back to myself again. And I was like, damn, hell yeah. At least I didn't carry that for like, oh man, for like 6, 7, 8 years. Some people hide it really well and they say it doesn't bug them. But when they drink, they'll make comments, or like you can see it in their patterns, or, you know, just daily routines. I can analyze real easy, real quick, real good. People don't give me enough credit. I've heard it from my mom several times where she's like, because I would say, everybody fucking thinks I'm stupid. I'm not fucking stupid. She's like, no, I think that's just you in your mind that you think that people think you're stupid. But in reality, it's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Because like, if I'm referencing that, why wouldn't you say, okay, well, who are the ones that are telling you that? You don't have that response. You actually want to go and combat the other way. So I'm like, you're not giving the right response. Because there is people that I do know or I have run into that will be like, you know, or give me a look like, because if people feel that you're smarter or intelligent or you're doing better, like my homie Mikey told me, he's in a program right now. He went through a lot of shit. I really feel for him. He's like my real brother. I've named some mistaken brothers. Like, I thought they were my brothers and they weren't, and they fucking backstabbed me. But these dudes I grew up on with the same block. My homie Richard and his brother Lawrence. But Richard is known as Bubs from back home, and Lawrence is known as Mikey. I call him Mikey, you know. But I usually will call him Lawrence, you know what I mean, or Richard, just Richard. But that's like a family thing. The boys call them Bubs or Mike, you know. Mine is usually like back home. It'd be like Ray, little Ray, hey, what's up Ray, or what's up Raymond, you know, whoop de whoop. Like it was just little slang shit, you know. But yeah, so that's all I really have for you guys, based on that type of knowledge. And look at those dogs over there. Yeah, good morning to y'all. Can't wait to have some coffee. They got coffee at the church. I like coffee. Not gonna lie, yesterday I had like a couple drinks because I was stressed out, man. I was like, man, I'm not feeling this everything's going wrong, and I was letting my mind get to me, you know what I mean? But I actually chilled, you know. I had 2 Tollies. I had one, I relaxed, I rested a little bit. I had a long fucked up night, and then I wasn't able to really sleep too well, but I had to do what I had to do to get by, you know what I mean? My friends let me stay over. We were watching a movie. We were watching a scary movie, and they were all jumping and shit. And I was kind of like, I already went through this shit. Like, there was no jump in me at all. We were watching Insidious. That's a horror movie. That type of shit's evil. You don't really want to be watching that shit because it'll be inviting evil in, you know. And I actually had got some good rest for the first time in fucking 3 weeks, man. I actually got to sleep 7-8 hours. You know, I still feel a little woozy tired, but you know, once I get myself on a schedule and start basing my mind to be more stronger and my situation, it'll get better. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's been there. I've known plenty of dudes that been there, you know what I mean? So I don't really want to be too hard on myself. And I've heard it through many people. They're like, hey, you know, it happens to the best of us. And I'm like, shit. And I'm like one of the best of the best, dude. Like, because I was fucking holding it down for a minute. And things just fucking, life happens, you know what I mean? Like, I don't regret it, you know what I mean? I have to experience these things in order to, let's say, future-wise, like, because this world is bad, you know what I mean? It's not like it was 30, 40 years ago. I don't see a lot of people get together and have barbecues at all out here. There's just nothing but fucking drugs and stupid-ass people, and you know, maybe they were just raised wrong, you know what I mean? They don't want to seek any help. They don't have it in their heart, you know what I mean? They rather choose to do bad than fucking good. So, I'm strong in a sense, like even when it comes to like war. Like, if I know war is gonna go down, I already have that mindset, you know what I mean? Like, you have to go through enough shit in order to learn things that people can't see or they can't endure. Like, there's a lot of shit that I'm enduring out here that people can't even. Motherfuckers will go outside their place and be like, it's so hot, and they can't even take it for 5 seconds. I'm like, nigga, I'm out here all day, you know what I mean? Like, all day, dude, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm conditioned to this shit. I mean, I can imagine if it was winter, I would just have to readjust, you know what I mean? I would just have to recalculate my mind and fucking get strong about that, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people hate on that shit because they don't have that mindset. Like, getting back to my friend Mikey, he went through a lot of shit, and he was telling me that fucking, you know, when people see you doing good, they hate on that. They don't want to see that because they don't feel like they're doing good. Even if they have the same situation, like if you both are working the same job and you both got a place, but you're happy as fuck and they're not, man, nigga, that's not that's not my fucking problem that you ain't happy, and that's why you gotta go against me or make comments towards me. People are grody like that, you know what I mean? And people that are retired, like you know, older couples or even just a single man or a single woman, they'll, you know, more likely either be open-minded about it because they know shit or they've been through it. But if not, it's more like they'll kind of discriminate in a way to be like, oh, well, why is it this all the time? And, oh, you know, over time it's going to look like you have a pattern, right? Like you're always causing the problem, or you're the fucking problem, and it's not everybody else. But in reality, sometimes it is like that, though. You know what I mean? There's like so many people. Like, you could be like, okay, like for instance, just for an example, if you're a UFC girl or a UFC fighter dude or a football player, basketball player, whatever you want to call it, even whether it's male or female, right? And you're like bomb as fuck at your game, You can have 20 motherfuckers on you, like hating on you, and they could be doing shady shit. I've heard stories that even that had nothing to do with me. Like some girl I knew, my homie Jason that passed away. His lady Marlene was telling me a story one time. She's giving me a ride to work. This is years ago. I was going to a restaurant. I think I was at the either the loading dock. I was going to work, or I was going to work at the Riverside. One of the two. But it was a long time ago. But anyway, she was telling me about a girl that was really good at serving, and there was all these other servers that didn't like her, and they started fucking with her real bad, like changing plates, doing shit with the cups, and people are shady like that. And so, see, the more, like my mom had taught me, the more crazier it sounds, the more real it is, right? So basically, when people do that shit to you, they know that if you go to tell to somebody to rat them out, they're gonna be like, what? Like, you seem crazy. You seem like there's something fucking wrong with you. And before you know it, boom, you either get fired or you quit, right? Because how long are you going to be willing to put up with that? If you already work in a stressful environment, like let's say restaurant business, restaurant could be fucking busy as fuck, or even a bartending business, right? And people are combating against you, you're going to look fucking crazy, right? But other than that, though, it's the stress, right? Think about it. If they're stressing you out and putting more on you, and then you know that you got to serve customers, now you're fucked. You got like 30, 40, or even 50 fucking people combating against you. But of course, your enemy has to rest. Them niggas get tired. You know what I mean? So if you can outweigh them, and sometimes you can beat them. Like mine, it took about, I want to say 9 months to 6 months. Like where some of them actually finally gave up. And I was like, finally, dude. Y'all niggas were holding on for a minute, like, like, get off me, like, that's just some scandalous shit to me. Like, you're literally gonna hold on that long, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's just a lot of a lot of information that goes along with shit like this and life in general. And I know that some people are kind of like, oh, we already all know this shit, blah 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 blah, you know what I mean? But for some people though, whatever I might be pushing out and saying might hit somebody in a particular way out of their day to be like, oh, I feel that. Like, he's, that's good that I heard that. You know what I mean? Think of it as a positive way. Don't even look at it as like a negative way, And I've noticed that shit about people. Like, people are just too negative, you know what I mean? And it is difficult. Like, when I'm mobbing it around or I'm going to go charge my phone, or there's that insecurity. Like, not that I'm trying to be insecure, but in the situation that I'm in, like, people naturally think like, oh, maybe there's something wrong with this fool because he's homeless, right? And 99% of the time it's like that. Like, if you go to fucking Oregon, there's all kinds of like, tents and everything, people fucking shooting heroin, and they're like, they're all homeless. And so people look at it like, oh, it's because they all have a drug problem, you know what I mean? Or an alcohol problem. So therefore, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna look at me like that. So sometimes you're wondering, but you gotta learn to just be like, I don't give a fuck what they're thinking. You know what I mean? Because they're not in my situation. They can judge all they want. If you're going to be judgmental, then you got an issue. You know what I mean? You could judge because you got to have a good judgment of character. Obviously, I was judging too good in someone and whatever. But that's just my whole thing is like, I gotta do what I need to do to survive and get by. And if I can get up, I'll get up again. You know what I mean? This isn't shit. This happened to me when I was in Victorville, up and down 7th Street. My homegirl, luckily, thank God, she let me stay for 2 months. I don't know if that ended up turning into like a little thing with her brother or whatever, which is my homie. There's always something going on with somebody, and I don't care what anybody says. My whole thing is like, I never had bad intentions. I could say never because I don't. In my heart, I don't ever have bad intentions for anyone. You know what I mean? And no matter how much people have beat me down or fucking judge me or talk shit about me behind my back or whatever it is, hey, go ahead, fool, you know what I mean? Because in reality, it's like, I'm just trying to do me. And I'm trying to be nice, you know what I'm saying? I've always had a good heart, you know what I mean? And people take advantage of that. And I've been sticking up about it, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes, at the time I should have had stuck up about it when I was on my place, but I wasn't thinking, you know what I mean? Like, everybody makes mistakes, especially women, like when they're in those fucked up relationships and are being controlled by a man that's overseated power over them, or maybe they feel like they have nowhere to go. That type of shit, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a smart, intelligent woman, get the fuck out of there. Whether you got $20 or not, go to your mom's, go to your friend's house, say fuck that. Even if you gotta be on the street, you know what I mean? Why be with a controlling man that's controlling you mentally, physically, and emotionally, or even putting cameras around the place, or beating you behind closed doors, or even women. Women are abusive like that too, man. You know? Controlling that situation and being unhappy just because you can live comfortable, that's not a good price. You know what I mean? Fuck all that. Like, if I had to live under some woman's freaky ass rules like that, I'd be like, hey, you know what? Even though this is your place, you're disrespecting me as a human being. Fuck you, bitch, I'm out. You know what I mean? And that's basically what I did. I took off because I was being fucking drugged, whether people want to believe that or not. And of course, if I was being drugged and I was trying to get away from that situation, obviously my physical appearance ain't gonna look good. So everyone was judging me on that. Like, oh, look at him, whoop-de whoop. But you want to pride on that, though. You know what I mean? Like, with pride, like, haha, I broke that guy, whoop-de whoop. It ain't nothing breaking me, dude, because like I already said, a long time ago when I got this tattoo, a lot of people were always challenged about it. And I'm like, that's your ego. That's your fucking insecurity. You know what I mean? I was broken coming into this world a long time ago. My father used to beat the fuck out of me, all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? He was real nasty to my mom, my sister. So in reality, it's like, this is just what it is. You know what I mean? Like, if I was already broken, you can't re-break me. You know what I mean? You can keep trying or keep fucking with me or whatever like that. Even when I'm dead, I'm gonna come back again. You know what I'm saying? Tupac said that shit. Why can't I? So the fuck what? You know what I mean? What? Cause I ain't black? No, just like I'm black. I got a lot of black homies in California, bro. Straight killers, you know. But anyways, yeah, I just try to be up and positive, and I want everybody to recognize it and recognize who I really am, you know, because I've had people talk shit to me, man. Like, when I would have took my shirt off and gave it to them, you know what I mean? I even like, as far as like, you know, I remember back home, I almost took a bullet for one of my homies. His name's Isaiah, if you fucking recognize. Foo, if you can hear me on here. He's from San Diego. And we got into a situation and fucking, I put him behind me. I was like, watch out, fool, you know, with you. And some fucking black fool with a gun. I want to say it was a 22. That fool almost shot me in my heart, you know what I mean? So, I've been through it, you know what I'm saying? But I use a positive outlet or outlook on things, regardless of the situation. Ooh, it's beautiful out here and it's free. Yeah, so that's all I gotta say for today. Recognize who I really am as a person and as an individual, and stop being so judgmental. And that's just for anybody, you know, so don't take it personally to be like, oh, this video's for me or this and that. You guys need to just chill the fuck out, you know what I mean? I'm just explaining my case to let people know what it's like for me, you know what I mean? Because I know I'm judged hard. I hear it, I could feel it, you know what I mean? Like, or I've heard it through the grapevine. I'm like, you know what, keep talking shit. You know what I'm saying? Because one day when you need it, I might not even fucking be there, you know, especially when it gets to, it's gonna get way bad. I'm telling you, it's gonna get badder than this shit. Everybody's focused on the Trump shit and the whatever shit. That ain't gonna come into play, nigga. If it's prophesized to say exactly what it's gonna do and the shit's happening, eventually time will be up and everybody's gonna be out on their ass or in fucking concentration camps or whatever you want to call it. And I've talked to plenty of other people that agree with me 100%. And I'm not talking about, oh, I'm just shaking an invisible person's hand and shit. Like, I'm talking to real fucking cats. I've talked to veterans. I've talked to ex-CIA agents at the bar. I met a lot of people when I was working for that year and 4 months. And you think out of 100% of those people that I was talking to are all lying to me? Fuck no. You mean you get little bullshitters here and there because they want an extra drink or something, you know? But 99% of the time, a lot of niggas was telling me the truth about things or what they heard. I mean, think about it. They're all coming from all over the world. They're coming from fucking Canada, fucking Colorado, Texas, Florida. Some of them were coming from the Netherlands, you know? They all explain something to me, and I see what's up, you know what I mean? People can sit here and say I'm dumb as fuck, and I know I'm not. I'm very highly intelligent. I wasn't wrong about the COVID either. When that hit in the 2020, everybody was believing it. I'm like, it's not real. Like, I don't give a fuck how many fucking people died. They set that whole shit up. You know what I mean? You can be like, oh, I caught it. I had got it. What? Because some motherfucker wrote it on paper and said you had it, but you didn't die though, huh? But all those other motherfuckers did. Either the ones that had good ass insurance, or, you know, I mean, I know a lot of people that told me that they knew it was bullshit. You can't, like, even when it first hit. I heard one of the manager ladies say like, okay, because I didn't have TV. I wasn't watching the fucking news. And people were like, oh, COVID, COVID, COVID. I'm like wiping the tables at the riverside. I'm like, the fuck is this COVID bullshit? What the fuck is everybody talking about, right? And then my manager lady, she's like, okay, people, okay. Because people were panicking, I guess. And I overheard her from way over there in the station. And I'm wiping the table and I'm listening. And it sounded stupid as fuck to me. Like you don't need a degree or a fucking diploma to have common sense. You know what I mean? Unless you're that fucking stupid. But this fucking chick was like, okay, everybody, okay, calm down. Relax. Let's do what we can to retain this virus. I'm like, if it's airborne or it's blood related, how are you going to obtain it? You know what I mean? Like that, to me, it was funny. It was kind of like catching air in a cup. Like, oh. What a bunch of fucking dumbasses, man. I just thought that shit was... I was laughing so hard, like, in my mind. That shit made me want to fucking clock out and go to the bar and slam a couple fucking shots and have a Bud Light and be like, where did the world go? Where did the world go with that shit, man? Like, people are fucking dumb. I didn't realize how fucking dumb people are. Like, my cheeks look fucking fat as fuck in this video. Yeah, oh, they're like puffy. Probably too much salt from all the top ramen. I can only afford top ramen. Like when I eat, I'll have like a fucking a beef stick. It's like $1.65 at the Family Dollar. And I would always get one for me and Lulu, but I would only eat half of it and then give the rest to Lulu. And we used to go on the side of the Family Dollar along the wall and like duck down. And she'd be like, she'd hear the wrapper and I'm unwrapping. I'm like, I got it, mama, I got it. And she's like, every time I would feed her, she's just like, I thought it was so fucking cute. And then I would drink my Monster or my energy drink, you know, whether it was a Red Bull Monster or a 99-cent drink, and I would just like, and she'd look at me like, you gonna give me some more beef jerky? And then we would walk to my mom's and go and visit. That was the most funnest stuff, even if my fucking stepdad didn't want me there. It was just the funnest shit to take Lulu over there. My mom was happy to see Lulu, and I was doing pretty good, you know, and that's just the shit that sucks when you lose everything, and you gotta go through it emotionally, you know, even within the mistakes and knowing that you made mistakes, it hurts, you know what I mean? But then when you got people telling you shit, it even hurts more. You know, that's why I've learned to come to an understanding, like if somebody's hurting, I'll come at them real slow and calm, and I'll put my arm around them, depending if they're a dude, like hey, what's up, bro, like it's good, you know, like you good? Or I'll hug them if they're a chick. Respectfully, just depending on the situation and how they feel at the moment. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's just always been me. And I can only say I only have so many friends and family members left. I mean, it's good. At least I have that. You know, there's some fools out there that are going through it and they don't got nothing. You know what I mean? So I feel for you out there, you know. I send my prayers and love out. Let me see what time it is. Kind of got off track and off schedule. And usually my videos are always long because they really do come from the heart. It's 8:36. I got to do some muscle ups and some training. I got to fucking do a little TikTok video of my Kung Fu. I can't even get my name right. That's supposed to be King Fire Tiger. In English, that's what it is. That's what I'm trying to name myself as a master, because every master in Kung Fu has a name. Mr. Shahan Lee, which is, I don't know, I wrote it down somewhere, like chosen something, fortunate one or something like that, blessed one or something like that. It can mean many things because Mandarin in the writing is so different. Like yi can mean so many fucking things, even like hao, like that means a lot of things. Bang or bing can mean a lot of things. I do want to travel the world eventually, and I want to learn 6 different languages. You know what I mean? I want to learn Mandarin. I want to learn Japanese. I want to learn fucking German, Russian, Dutch. I don't even know if I named that off correctly on my fingers. Hey, good for you, buddy. Run, run. So, let's see. Yeah, get it. There you go. Faster. Fucking kids, man, they're funny. With their little simple games, you know? You know what it was like when you were younger? And it was just a simple shit, you know? It was free, you know? It didn't cost nothing. Ain't nobody taxing you to run or fucking play. And oh, and that's the secret I learned the other day. I was going to say real quick before I let you guys go. Mr. Shahan Lee was saying about, like, how to become younger. Like, is there a possibility of being immortal or having... being immortal. Like, well, being immortal, I think there's immortal. Okay, so being immortal means you'll die, and then being immortal means you live a long time, but you could still die. But you could live like 900 years, 500 years, 600 years, right? But having immortality is different. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But to be immortal, he was saying that you have to integrate, which makes a lot of sense because they get all these ideas from the body and the mind, why they make cell phones and electricity and this and that, because it all comes from here, or the body, how you feel in the body, what your body components are telling you. Same thing with your phone. When you're touching shit, you're touching the body of the phone, and then it's going into the component, into the computer, and then it's reading into the database. Same thing. If I go like this, I know that I'm touching my chest. I can feel it in my mind. That's impressing here in the electrical system, pretty much my veins that are signaling to my brain. Same shit, you know what I mean? If you can understand that concept. But he was saying you got to go back to the format of knowing what it was like being a child, right? So if you remember touching something for the first time, being like visualizing like your little small hand, people have memories when they used to be like 6 years old swinging on a monkey bar. If you can retain that and keep visualizing that and taking yourself back to that, now your body's integrating back to that. So that means that you're reversing your genetics and your mind, and you're staying younger. Your body will do what your mind tells it to do. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why a lot of people fear that knowledge, or that we are aware of that knowledge, because I remember a teacher I had, she wasn't a good teacher. My mom didn't like her either. I forget her name, but she was an old bitch. Sorry to say, she's probably dead now, but she was an old fucking mean bitch. And I remember she was saying, and I don't know if it was like a prophecy type of thing for me to hear or what, but she was telling the whole class, she's like, you know what? It only takes one person to fuck it up for everybody else. And I'm like, you mean controlling the system? Like, now when I think about it, that's what she was talking about. You know what I mean? Like, it only takes one person to stand up, one person to fucking say something, and for everybody to come together, and then they all lose power, right? That's what they're fucking scared of. And even if I go, or some cop shoots me, or someone kills me, who the fuck cares? My message is gonna go out just like anybody else's message, and it's gonna spread, and eventually people will get brave enough, or they'll come together and stop being segregated and start running the community like it should be run. You know what I mean? Who are these fools to tell us what we're supposed to be doing, how we're supposed to be waking up, how we're supposed to be clocking in, how we're supposed to sign over taxes, how hard, you know, because this isn't the way we're supposed to really be living life. This really isn't. You know what I mean? Why do you think when you're stressed out working a 9 to 5 and coming home on the weekend, you're like, you know, like fucking, or even fucking, you know what I mean? That's not normal. Ain't nobody happy. I don't care what anybody says. Like, if you're happy genuinely with yourself because you know how to escape from all that shit, it's still there, but you're learning how to escape it mentally, well, good for you. But realistically, it's not the way we're supposed to live. But anyways, I'm going to let you guys go. I got some things to do. Got church to attend to. Got to do some kung fu shit. Peace out. Love you all. God bless. Stay up. And don't take this personally. This is pretty much fairly educational purposes. All right. Love you all. Bye.